The idea that history is written by the victors, they control the story and the narrative. A story is the most powerful thing. Words and stories and songs are the most powerful weapon that anyone can have, especially when you're fighting a larger enemy.
We don't want to get into spoilers, but I want you to make the case for why Merwyn is the best new addition to the world of The Witcher.
Okay, hello, nice to meet you, and I love that. Thank you. So, Merwyn is a princess born into a patriarchal, that is how you say that word, it just comes out my mouth a bit trickily sometimes, patriarchal monarchy, oh my goodness. She has all these dreams and aspirations. Her escape is through her hero, Solrith, and she loves to read and to know about history. She's got a thirst for knowledge, and she is only seen by the people around her as someone who can be used as a pawn in the civil war that's lasted 1,000 years on this continent, rather than someone who can help shape the future or be used as someone who has a mind and a voice. And so Merwyn desperately wants to escape that way that she's seen, and she puts things, she tries to do that. And she also has rocking costumes and a great arc ahead of her that I've really enjoyed playing.
This show really uses storytelling and character tropes in the best kind of way. Were there any pop culture figures that influenced your performance?
Well, yes. Now, I had this book, Bad Girls Throughout History, I think it was called. It's an illustrated book, it's beautiful. And so I was looking through that when I got the role of Merwyn, and I really thought, I was watching The Great at the time, and I thought about Catherine the Great. There are definitely some similarities there, the sort of want for culture and this sort of golden era, so to speak, this sort of richness, and the sort of the drive, and not necessarily taking on board other people's pain necessarily, but having the ends as the sort of goal, and the means can go like that.
Thousands of years worth of stories you can tell. Why is this one the one that you needed to?
Ooh, that's a
Good
great
one. I like that, straight in. Because one of the electric bits in the book that I love is the world of the elves. That was the thing that really hooked me when I first started reading Sapkowski. It's just how broken they were. And, you know, it goes against everything we know in traditional sort of genre for understanding of elves, who are these high elevated race. And how did that happen? And then the conjunction of the spheres being the pivotal moment, and the arrival of the humans that brought all that about, and them being colonized. What were they like before? So that was the story I wanted to tell. The idea that history is written by the victors, they control the story and the narrative. A story is the most powerful thing. Words and stories and songs are the most powerful weapon that anyone can have, especially when you're fighting a larger enemy.
Not only does this series have major connections to the original show, it answers some big questions. Those are going to be obvious to viewers. What are some of the less obvious connections you hope they pick up on?
Well, I mean, there's all the little Easter eggs, like little touches that I that made me happy writing and seeing them acted out. Like when Meldolf says, you know, she's talking about her lover, and she says she always smelled of winterberry and lilac, which is a nod to, you know, the Sapkowski books and Gooseberries and Lilac. Those little things I love. All the Easter eggs were setting up basically for the seasons, because Lauren and myself were chatting all the time. We'll be texting, can you expand on this? And, oh, I need that prop because we're going to use it in season 3. And what if this happens? So all those tendrils that go forward, that was very exciting to us. You know, it's going to pay off in a nice way. And then also getting to see the origin stories of, you know, Ithlinne and Avalak and Eredin, who are wonderfully rich and not comic, but dark in the books and the lore and the games. And how did they get that way? We meet them on their sort of early days, when they're sort of the baby versions of themselves, and what are their first steps towards that dark path.
I'm glad you brought up Ithlinne, because that is probably my sort of favorite connection, which I think will be pretty obvious. But I think the reason that we wanted it there is less obvious, which is that we hear about Ithlinne's prophecy all through the Witcher main story. In fact, Ciri's entire, journey is based on it. And yet we're told time and again that it's just folklore, that there's nothing to believe. Getting to meet Ithlinne, watching her make a prophecy and watching it come true in this story, to me lends such credence to what Ciri is going through. And what I hope viewers take back to the main series is, oh wow, this thing that we've been hearing about that just seems like people are sort of writing it off, this actually has a lot of power behind it.
All right, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.